This is the #1 NBA podcast in the world.
Obviously, I love the game of basketball.
With Greg Poehler.
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome to episode 2 of the #1 NBA podcast in the world. My name's Greg Poehler, here with my producer Jonathan Rollins.
Yes,
He's got a full soundboard, NBA soundboard.
Yeah, man.
Ready to want to play with your favorite? Oh, there we go.
I mean, you keep talking. It sounds good when you talk.
In rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your specialty, is rhythm.
The funny thing about the name of the podcast, the #1 NBA podcast in the world, it actually kind of served its purpose. I had a bunch of people congratulating me, thinking it was
like you
a much
won an
more
award?
important podcast than it is, and not just us. Just
We won a major award.
fucking around and having fun. It was funny to get messages from people being like, "Wow, impressive."
Congratulations, man! Congratulations, man! And then they listened to it, and then they were saying,
That's terrible.
Yeah, so there you go. Wow.
I'm be setting myself up. This is fun for me, man.
That is a lot of there's a lot of drops waiting to be had.
Yeah.
Big NBA week, obviously. Playoffs started. Finally some great games last night. 2 games: the Knicks, Sixers, and Lakers, Nuggets, which we'll talk about briefly. It's not going to be one of these podcasts where we go over each game and give our insights. There's other podcasts for that if you want that. I'm going to start with the biggest news of the week that I saw last week.
Okay.
And I talked a little bit about Zion Williamson here on the podcast before, in the sense that he had this, his best game of his career probably. Finally living up to expectations, but then injuring his hamstring on the final play. And I hadn't seen this until after we taped, but he comes home. Probably, I don't know what you do to a hamstring. Do you ice it? Do you put heat on it?
Wash it off.
He was treating his hamstring, feeling really bad about himself. Turns on Instagram or Twitter and sees this.
All I'm gonna say is, you see what happens when you don't pay. You see what?
She ain't nothing to say for real.
They don't play about me. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. Like,
Who's
honestly,
The hamstring gods?
you'll never beat the GOAT. You're not the GOAT. That's it. You're not LeBron James. You'll never be LeBron James. Good night.
Well, yeah, that's Zion Williamson's.
That confirms that LeBron's the GOAT.
That's Zion Williamson's baby mama, as she's been described.
Okay, I was going to say, Greg. I never heard you say baby mama before.
I try not to.
I try not to.
That should be a drop.
That's the only reason I'm still married.
Well, I mean,
because I don't want to use the term baby mama.
For me, it's just I'm not into this, Instagram model world or NBA, groupie world at all. Although seeing that, I do think that there's probably if we wanted to make some money, if we started a podcast just talking about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, I think there's a lot of people that are into that world.
Yeah, man. The gossip with the groupie gossip type stuff. Yeah.
But also, you could just you could blackmail the players.
Oh shit!
And just be like,
damn.
Listen, for $5,000 a month, we'll keep your name out of this. Otherwise, we're exposing all you sliding into everybody's DMs. Yeah. So that's a business idea. But no, but this for me, when I saw this,
That's a terrible idea.
Nice. Yeah, I just felt doubly bad for Zion. Not because he got mixed up with this woman, but just that's as I don't know what he did to her. It's probably something awful. I haven't looked into it. So,
okay.
But still,
you don't know about the.
what is there? You know about this couple?
There was there was a thing with him with side pieces and stuff.
Yeah, but isn't that just par for the course for these type of relationships?
I guess it doesn't make it feel better for the woman involved.
Okay, if she's getting her revenge, more power to her. I don't know what happened.
There's still
but
limits.
I still
though.
feel she could have waited an hour
Yeah.
after his hamstring injury to really rub it in there. I can just picture him, whatever, leg up, being like, "Wow, this is it. This is rock bottom." Like, nope. Here it is. Here's your rock bottom.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
Yeah. This are you? So you're into the IG model world? At all?
No. To me that stuff, it terrifies me a bit.
Especially on the
got the accent, too?
African American side, the ones that seem to have the most followers, tend to be a little out of proportion in certain areas. You know
Particularly the African American.
Particularly those, yes. From what I understand from the media.
I don't know how to react to that. But my problem is, I'm from Miami.
Yeah.
It's that type of city to have this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was good. It was a weak spot for me back in the day, man.
IG models?
Not IG models. It wasn't no IG back then. But like a ghetto girl, like a pretty girl with like blue hair and gold teeth.
See, that's what I mean. Like
That's your thing too?
No.
That was my thing. Like I could save her, man.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to bring this up to you because I learned from this.
Yeah, man.
Because there obviously is something I'm missing. Because when I see a woman like that, I'm like, why would anyone ever?
Oh no, there's
dance in that or swim in that pool.
I don't know, man. It
Seems like NBA players just one after the other just get caught up in these. It seems to be the same type of woman too. Someone who has a crazy amount of followers who are just posting the pictures of themselves.
Yeah.
And then just consistently get back at them with vengeful posts after the fact.
I don't think it's all. It's the ones that get publicity. You know what I mean? But but we were talking about this. My friend Amat and I. He's gonna come on sometime. Probably. He's
nice.
really big into NBA. But he's a Heat fan too. But we were talking about how that community, like they also are, because like All-Star Game weekend is a big thing for the groupies.
Yeah.
And like the rappers, it's not even just for the NBA players. So that's high tier. If you get an NBA player, you kind of made it. But then right below that, it's the rappers. And it's like these same women, they kind of get, because Drake dropped the diss track. I don't know if you heard about that. Drake, the rapper, dropped the diss track. And in it, he referenced Ja Morant.
Oh. Same girl, I guess?
About a girl. They had some beef about some chick. And
see, this could all be.
It's like all we talked about it as a cesspool of fucking like it's gonna be the beginning of some AIDS pandemic or something. Like they're gonna create a new disease with all of these like mixing and matching and all these people that fucking each other.
Well, you can hear all about it in our new podcast that we'll be launching next week.
You see the dollar signs
called the Blackmail NBA podcast. Second thing of the week, there was Joe Mazzulla gave an interview on Pardon My Take that I asked you to pull.
Yeah.
I know you haven't watched all of it, but I want you to watch this. There's a 2-minute clip here, I think, that has kind of been going...
2 minutes?
I know. That's been going semi-viral as far as... It was a great interview in general, but I just want to get your take on it.
My take? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you my take, but I want your initial reaction to Joe Mazzulla, who I've been pretty lukewarm on. I really haven't seen much from him in long-form interview style before this. But here's him on Pardon My Take.
You don't want to know what's really going on in my mind.
What's really going on in your mind?
He's trying to rob Fenway Park.
Yeah, I mean, literally, how can I win every single situation or environment? Like, how can I win the environment no matter where I am at any particular time? What are the threats, the strengths, and the opportunities? And like, can you look at every single situation as a life or death situation from the standpoint of like, this person's a threat, this situation's like, I won't walk through revolving doors.
Okay.
Because like, if one of them gets stuck, then you're just a sitting duck.
Yeah. That's true. I haven't thought about that, but now every time I go through a revolving door, I'm going to think about it.
Think about
I'm going to avoid them. You're screwed.
So what about you go to get your coffee in the morning, stop in Dunkin' Donuts, and what goes through your mind? How do you win that situation?
Just figure out where the exits are. Look at the line on the way in. Study all the people. You know, don't have your back to the door. Like in a restaurant, I never sit with my back to the door.
Yeah.
You always got to sit to where you can have a vantage point of like everything that's going on around you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fascinating.
That is.
And you never turn that off?
No, that's an unfortunate thing for my family.
So like you're at home, you're sitting on the couch, you're watching cartoons with the kids. What's your mindset then?
Watch the door.
What can I take from this to like teach my kid a lesson? Like you can't just watch this just to watch it. Like there's got to be something here that you got to learn from it.
Yeah, I'm falling in love with Coach Mazzulla.
Yeah.
And then like but it's not all positive, right? Like I'm not saying I'm a good person for it. There are a ton of negative ramifications to that type of mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like your wife or kids come to you with like a very empathetic situation, and it's just like, yeah, you're just telling yourself that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You're breaking it down like it's it's trying to bust up someone's pick and roll strategy, and you're just like, no,
it's like, okay, well, how'd you get to this point? I'm like,
it's like, no, Dad, I just said I had a bad day.
Yeah, sometimes your wife just wants you to be like, yeah, that person was very unfair to you today.
Yeah. It's like, no, like you can't let that person be unfair to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was with him at first, but
Yeah. So what's your quick take on
the first thing because I had seen the beginning of it, I hadn't seen the whole thing. 2 minutes, a long time, but I do some of that stuff myself. Mm-hmm. But then I also love my wife, so.
So you're a little bit more
But I
empathetic?
do, I have more empathy, and more understanding of the social cues that are required. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunate and it's weird to see it as he does. He sees that this is not something.
Yeah,
that's good.
I don't know,
and then
like,
not curb your behavior.
Since Mazzulla took over as Celtics coach, I haven't really figured the guy out. Like I don't know what his deal is. He seemed pretty overmatched in the first year. Had some kind of bold. I mean, he didn't believe in timeouts, for example, and
I remember that.
and I kind of like the fact that he kind of he stuck with that throughout the season. He had the conviction of like, no, this is a new way of doing things. We're just going to let it figure it out.
New way.
Well,
Phil
I mean, he was
Jackson did
really
that.
not like he was really not calling any timeouts. He was
He's like,
timeout
I want
averse.
7. I want 7 at the end of the game. Yeah.
But and he's the coach of my favorite team, so I really want to like him. Like there's a chance that if the Celtics do what I think they're going to do and win all 16 games in the playoffs this year,
They're on their way. Yeah.
that he might have a job for my entire life. So this could be the coach of my team for the rest of my life potentially.
Okay.
I just don't, I'm not sure and a lot of people are loving that interview. I know that the guys that were interviewing him. PFT and Big Cat were saying, "Oh, we're falling in love with Joe Mazzulla."
Are those Boston fans? Those guys?
No.
Okay, so it's just national media liking him is a good sign.
Well, I mean, and I think that was the takeaway from this interview. The consensus was like, "Oh, he's crazy, but there's a side of Joe Mazzulla that we haven't seen before." But I still feel like I'm not sure if that whole thing's not just an act.
It sounds like it's
weird.
Yeah, it sounds like It
feels like
well,
he's,
I don't sit with my
bit.
back to the door. Personally, I'm dead ass.
Yeah.
I'm dead ass. I don't sit with my back to the door. I always look for extra. I do that shit too, but that's just
the way
like
he's saying is like if he's trying to make it seem like I win every situation I'm in life I win.
No,
that's
you
what I'm
don't.
getting from
You
it.
lost. You lost. You lost.
You should remind
We've seen
him
you
of
lose.
this last year.
Okay. Well, I mean, it made me. You know what it is? We see these people as like there's only 30 coaches in the league.
Yeah.
And then you got your Greg Popoviches out there that don't let you in at all, really. Oh, actually, he does. He's kind of, he's not like we talk about your football coach who doesn't. Belichick. He did, or your former football. Wow. He doesn't let you in. So then if he gives you something, then you're like, we're all like, oh my God, we got a little piece of this guy who we didn't know much about. And there's only 32 of them in the NFL. There's only 30 of them in the NBA. So now it's like, he let us in a little bit. So maybe that's more of what it is.
Well, I mean, like Mazzulla, he also in this interview and in prior interviews, he talks about how much he watches the movie The Town. Like he watches it multiple times a week, and I hadn't seen the movie since it came out. I watched it recently with my kids. It's a
you don't think it's pandering?
It's a good movie, but I mean, maybe he is watching it 5 times a weekend, but that's insane. And actually, if he's doing what he says here, and if he is watching The Town, I actually respect. Then he's a crazy that I can get behind. But I feel like it's almost like a manufactured. He's pretending to be crazy
pandering.
because he thinks it's going to be I don't know. We'll see. Joe Mazzulla is off to a great start, 1-0 so far in this playoffs. 15 more to go.
Yeah,
to
15
reach
15
my
more.
prediction.
If
Hopefully the Celtics wouldn't. When this airs, maybe they'll have already lost game 2. In which case, I'm hoping this airs before at least game 2.
it will.
How did you feel about the? How are you feeling about the Heat?
They put up a valiant effort,
Oh,
man.
my God.
Your boys
Valiant.
You're missing
effort.
our
They were down
guy.
by
We're missing our
30-something
number
points
one.
in the first half.
We're missing our guy, and you had a bench player go fucking nuts.
Who?
The white
Hauser?
dude, Hauser.
Go nuts. He had like 4.
He had like 5
three-pointers.
threes in a row.
Hey, that's what he does.
In a row. It's just like
Welcome to the best team of all time. That's what we do.
He went nuts, man.
Is there a drop for that? That's what we do.
You had opportunity to have access to the
access the
soundboard,
drops.
and you do not have access right now.
Yeah, but it was a good. I mean, it's a good first. I mean, the first week has been fairly disappointing, other than last night. I
Yeah.
have to say. I actually did one bet, which I bet 400 on all 8 of my teams that I thought was going to win the thing for 50-1. So 20,000 comes back to me if I win these. And after almost a week, I am not feeling great about that bet.
You mean for series winners?
Series wins.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go one by one. I picked Orlando over Cleveland. Orlando's down 0-2, and they have looked awful and overmatched. Cleveland's looked great. So right there, I think my bet is pretty much down. Perfect sound effect for my Orlando Magic prediction. Cleveland might be a team to look out for, actually.
Yeah, man.
I didn't give them any time on the first episode, but I mean, I love Garland and Donovan Mitchell is he's the man.
Yeah.
He really is. So I think they could maybe be leading in one game against the Celtics if they play in the next round. Maybe at halftime they'll have a lead.
But then they'll lose it.
Then they'll lose it. It's 4
Okay.
straight. My prediction.
All right.
Knicks. I took the Knicks over the Sixers. That's looking good.
Looking good.
Now, Knicks Sixers game last night and Lakers Nuggets, 2 instant classics, really, and games that could go either way.
Yeah.
And I was just listening briefly to some people doing some of the Inside the NBA guys after those games, and every time there's a close NBA game, I wish. I've always, especially for the NFL, I've always wanted to be like another analyst at their table, and the luck analyst. You know, everyone's always breaking down like, this team wanted it more. It's like, or there was one.
Yeah, a lucky bounce.
There was one play where the ball
roll,
bounced off the guy's foot,
Yeah.
and if it didn't do that, the other team would have won.
You want that guy to be at every game?
Well, because for me, I feel like fans. That's what fans do. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
the guy, he slipped.
Or if the ref doesn't make that call?
Yeah, just if you find the one thing, but I'm talking more like the pure luck. Like
Okay.
sometimes there's a ball that or a 3-pointer that goes is
all the way
90%
down,
down.
it
And goes
comes
up.
out.
Like,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with that. Wasn't
Yeah.
defense. That was just kind of pure luck. And there was a number of those plays last night, just as the luck analyst that I could point to.
Luck
to
analyst
give
Greg.
the team, because that's how it works in sports. Is like I was saying last podcast, is people work backwards from the narrative. It's like, okay, Knicks are up 2-0. They want it more. The crowd's been behind them. It's a whole new. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
or if that ball didn't,
Right.
I mean that the 2 3-pointers at the end of the Knicks game that basically won them. In 5 seconds, reminiscent of the Reggie Miller
The 9
6
point. But
points.
he had not. Wasn't
Was
it
it
9?
9? I know he had 6 in a row. Where he
Yeah.
basket steal, 3-pointer steal,
Or
three-pointer-
McGrady with how
right
many
in
points
Spike Lee's face too, which is
Yeah.
great about
Oof. And Spike.
that. So I don't know how many years later, whatever, 30 years later now, or more, the Knicks seem to have gotten revenge because they had their own version of that last night. A total kid-like meltdown from Maxey in terms of I see this all the time with kid. If you watch a lot of kids basketball games, when the kids get doubled in the corner, when they don't know, they're just freaking out and they don't know what to do.
Call timeout.
He just kind of lost it. He was getting fouled, but he was fouling himself. It was the refs generally don't call the fouls on those plays. He gets knocked down. Somehow it's not a travel. I don't know. and they're trying to call timeout. Somehow they didn't give him that. But he could have done anything else than what he did. I mean, he could have held on to it. Would have been a jump ball. Instead, he just kind of panicked and tried to get rid of it, and led to the DiVincenzo 3. So great game for the Knicks. The Knicks crowd has been exactly what we expected in terms of. I mean, it really feels like New York basketball is back, even after 2 games. I mean, it feels like that's especially with Embiid
Back
so
from
hobbled.
when? Like when was it?
I mean,
90s?
they haven't had a good run in a long time.
Since Allen Houston?
I mean, last year they were, I think, the 4 seed, but there wasn't that same. I mean, last year was more like we're psyched that Knicks playoff basketball is back. I think now the fan base is like we can win this thing. So it's good to see. I know who was it that called? It was somebody on the Sixers that called out the celebrity row before. So and they were out in full force. I saw
Denzel was there.
Ben Stiller and Chris Rock were together, high-fiving after the made threes. Your man John Starks was there, high-fiving with. There he is. Give me the John Starks
This
drop.
dude just did this.
This dude just did this.
Is this real?
Is that him too? There's a lot of John Starks drops.
More New York. Gotta have Marv Albert.
So that one's looking good. That prediction. Celtics over Heat, obviously. Nuggets over Lakers, I think, are locks at this point.
Yeah.
After last night's games.
Lakers almost pulled it off, man.
Lakers almost pulled it off. Actually, can you show? I asked you to pull the final shot of the game. I just want you to show you something that I found extremely funny about that last play.
About the last shot.
All right, here's more. Watch Anthony Davis after the shot goes in. Watch Davis. He gets swallowed up in the celebration. And as far as I know, he's still there. I mean, there's no, you don't ever see him come out.
He's
just there.
They're trying to help him up. He's just still falling.
Which
I think he got out.
Which brings me to that is when another team hits
Seeing
a
that little
game-winning
stuff,
shot,
yeah.
and you get caught in the celebration scrum.
Oof.
That is disrespect. Like, I mean, the only thing worse would be if he came
Confetti.
home and he had an Instagram model post how he was no LeBron James.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that's the ultimate. Because I mean, what do you do in that situation? What's the play there? Do you kind of, if people are on top of you and piling on, do you kind of come out swinging? I mean, you look bad no matter what you do.
Yeah.
If you get angry, you look.
It's yeah.
And he kind of just did whatever he could. He just looked like he just sulked into slunk down into the seat and just waited for
trying to help him up as just falling in.
I want to see another angle of him just like of just being there. He was there for like a long time, just underneath the pile, and taking people off. And
I should have known there was more to why you wanted to see that clip. I was like, oh, it's a game winner.
But as far as the luck analyst goes, the shot before that, LeBron kind of pushed the guy off. The guy fell down. He had a wide open 3-pointer in and out, and that was the game there. And I know, like, speaking of the luck, the minister of luck that I would like to be appointed to. I also hate when people are like, well, that play didn't lose us the game. When the coach always it's coach speak. The one play didn't lose us the game, and be like,
our intensity.
No, actually, it did.
Yeah.
I mean, but for that play, you would have won. Yeah. So one play did cost you the game.
Literally lost you the game.
I would just harp on that on the press conference. Here's another play that lost you the game. Just list like 40 of them. So Lakers down. I mean, for these 0-2 teams down, it's a tough battle. I know the old saying is the series doesn't start until the home team loses a game, but there's something about losing the first 2 games and in like heartbreaking fashion that makes it almost worse. The other series, OKC, New Orleans, that was a great game. I had OKC over New Orleans. I still think they're going to win it, but New Orleans is a lot tougher than I thought, without even without Zion. We'll wonder if he's coming back. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I would come back if my baby mom's.
He doesn't want to come back just because he doesn't want another video. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be piling on. And then the Bucks came up big without Giannis over the Pacers. Mildly surprising. I eventually.
You said mildly surprising?
Well, I picked the Bucks. They're in my 8, but I didn't feel great about it. It was probably the one that I thought about the most. I thought the Pacers, especially with an injured Giannis, had a good chance, but Bucks, even without Giannis, just kind of smoked him. Dame Lillard came to play. 35 points in the first half. Yeah. 0 in the second, but which is tough to do. Almost.
Yeah. Unless you're really blowing him out.
Unless he left.
Maybe Coach pulls you. If Coach pulls you because you're blowing him out.
Yeah. He was like, fuck this, man. I don't know.
I did my 35. I hit my average.
So I don't know if that series is going to be anything of note. I hope the Pacers come back and make a series out of it. Clippers-Mavs game 1 was a total dud. The Mavericks were awful. So I don't know how much you can read into that. No Kawhi in that game, and yet the Clippers still rolled. So I picked the Mavs in that. I still think they can win it. I think game 1 was just such a weird game. Yeah. But I'm not feeling great about it. And then that's it, right? So if all 8 of those Suns Timberwolves. I picked the Suns, unfortunately, and I think Anthony Edwards might be his time.
Ready?
His time might be now.
Yeah, you ready?
He had that game where he just looked like by far the best player in the series, and maybe the best player in the game. He had a stretch in the third quarter. Still worried. I mean, as a Celtics fan, obviously, I'm hoping anyone beats the Nuggets because that's the team I do not want to see. They're just so...
Of course. Nobody wants to see them, but they're the best team.
Yeah, because they're the best team. They're defending champions. So that's the breakdown for the 8 series that are going on. Celtics, I still think, I think in their game they proved why they're going to be one of the go down in history as one of the greatest teams.
Because they're going to sweep Denver.
They're going to sweep Miami. They're going to sweep Cleveland. They're going to sweep probably the Knicks, I would say, will make it. Or the Bucks, depending if Giannis.
Sounds like a rough road to the finals.
Yeah, 4-4-4. And then 4 over the Nuggets.
I was just being sarcastic.
You heard it here first. Yeah, I know.
When they get to the Nuggets, they're going to sweep
But
them.
there's no part of you that thinks that the Heat can win this series, right?
There's no part of me that thinks that the Celtics will go 16-0.
Okay, but let's take it one by one.
There's no part of me that thinks the Heat will win the series, no.
Really?
But there's no part of me that thinks the Heat will get swept either. I'd be shocked if the Heat gets swept.
All right.
But the way...
Prepare to be shocked.
The way they're on fire... And I shouldn't say shocked, but I'd be surprised if the Celtics pull out 4 in a row, stay focused enough, like Mazzulla with his front to the door, like at a restaurant. Because the Heat will put you...
Well,
in a turnstile.
I mean, it is daunting to think of the hundreds of fans that will be in Miami to watch Game 3 on time.
Thank you. I'm sorry that we have a fun city.
Okay.
Sorry that we have clubs in the arena.
You're not going to tell me, man. I'm the only one of us that has a home in the Miami area.
Yeah. You go to Heat games?
I am a homeowner. Of course I do.
And you understand
I show
that
up on time.
Right. Of course. That's good. It's very Boston of you to show up on time to a Miami game. But Miami fans, we know what's up, man. Yeah. Our city's great.
Yeah.
You own a home in Boston?
No.
Okay. That shows you which city's better.
Well, I mean, I'm just waiting for my parents' home to be mine.
Damn. And that was an open... That was an open wish for the death of Greg's parents. Eileen. Yeah. Shout out to Eileen.
How do you know my mom's name?
We did a roast thing, a radio thing. Talk about mama jokes, remember?
Huh. No.
We did a thing for Swedish radio.
You remember my mom's name from that?
Yeah, because I was like, I could have had a joke right there if I knew beforehand. I mean, we're talking about mama jokes. We did a radio thing. That's why I know your mom's name. And I don't forget stuff like that. I'm what you call a good friend.
All right, cool. So I think that I think the next pod will be after the first round. I think we'll be looking ahead to the second round matchups. Before we go, I was listening to I want to do a little race relations corner again. Now that I have,
Are we gonna have to do this?
we don't have to do it, but
Okay.
I feel like we should do it because, well, first of all, we did the IG model thing.
That wasn't race relations enough for you, huh? When you talk about African American young ladies trying to be all proper about saying it's a ghetto chick.
I learned a lot.
Okay, are we gonna talk about African American young ladies?
Even worse, we're going to be talking. I listened to your podcast with Amat, the one, the post OJ. And
Okay.
I'm intrigued because I'll tell you my OJ verdict experience. I was in college.
Oh yeah, that's good.
In like a pre-law class, and the guy brought in the wheeled in the TV because it was 1990s.
Yeah, ours was wheeled in too.
and watched it, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Because we were all certain that he was going to be convicted.
What was the demographics of your class?
White,
Every person was white in the class.
probably.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not every, but most. We left that thing in shock and walking across campus, and the group of the black students were all going crazy, rejoicing. And at that time, I didn't know. I mean, this is obviously pre-Twitter, so I didn't really have a sense that the black community was even rooting for him at this point, or anyone. I thought everyone was 100% in agreement. Like, this guy's obviously guilty,
hoping for justice.
and it was so shocking to me to see people cheering, and I just couldn't. I couldn't fathom it. Like, how they could be cheering when for me it was so obvious that this had occurred and this man was a murderer. And then I hear on the podcast, you were one of these people. You were one of these people cheering.
Our whole class, but we had a mixed class. I went to a magnet school, so it was like for law.
Yeah.
And like to prep you to go to law. You know what I mean? And
How old are you here?
I was like 13, something like that.
Okay.
No, 13.
Yeah.
And there were white kids in my class, and they were all sad. And I remember seeing the difference. I saw the breakup of the people that were, because I knew what my whole family thought. They're all black. I knew what they thought, and I knew my friends thought. The black kids in my class I didn't know what the white kids in my class thought. That were my friends, but I saw them like, I can't believe it. And I saw the black people jump out of their chairs for joy. My teacher, this Jewish guy, was pissed off, put his hand in his head. It was algebra class.
Really? And now were you guys like, like, was it?
No,
was it,
some
was
people
it like
did. Some people
was it like a
teased.
taunting thing
Some
happening?
people taunted a bit. Yeah, because I remember this kid, Danny Deutsch, I remember he pushed some kid like out of his face because they were like, and he was like really pissed. And yeah, but I think, yeah.
That's
it was,
interesting. Because have you seen the clip? I just saw it recently after when OJ died.
Wall Street?
No, the Oprah clip.
No.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's amazing. It's exactly what you're describing. Your class.
Yeah.
It was an Oprah. The Oprah live. I guess she was taping.
Oh, wow.
Showed the thing, and it's mixed. It's white people like crying and black people like, oh hell yeah, like in the aisles and stuff.
But adult Greg,
yeah,
further into your adulthood,
yeah.
do you now understand
I understand
why some
conceptually
people
why people that it became not about the actual events that what was happening. It became about something else.
Yeah.
And obviously I've learned in my life the reasons why. I still have trouble though with it, like conceptually, just because it's just weird and for me, and it's also like the fact that. I don't know. But part of me thinks. I mean, I was like, why are these guys so celebratory? But if you think about it, like, why were we so upset? It's like we didn't know these people, so why are we so upset about this one particular murder? That's another way to look at it.
That's a good point.
But I mean, you now realize that he was guilty. He's guilty.
Then
then you thought he was innocent. Right?
Then I thought he wasn't. He was innocent.
Yeah.
Especially when Mark Furman comes in.
That's fascinating to me because, it's one thing to be like, yeah, maybe he did it, but we need one for like.
No. It was a combination. I think it's confirmation bias. It's like you're hoping that he didn't do it because you really want justice in the back of your head. You want justice.
Yeah.
But you also know these people, which is the fucking authority. Has been oppressing us for so long, and this is just another example of it. And now America gets to see this cop planted evidence. See what I mean? This is what they do to us. You know what I mean? Our rap music was talking about it. The Rodney King thing was out there. We've been saying this shit, and now this guy who had abandoned the community gets embraced. We want you to be that person that proves to them that the system is fucked up. Maybe they'll fix it. And then it
I
happens.
watched almost every second of the OJ trial.
Me too. My dad made me watch it.
I was high in college in the same chair, just smoking tons of weed. And I remember specifically that moment, the F. Lee Bailey moment, when he and this is before we knew the tape existed of Furman saying the N-word. But and F. Lee Bailey has Mark Furman on stand, and he says he was not saying N-word. He's like, "Have you ever said the word?" And he says the word like he says it like 100 times.
Who does?
F. Lee Bailey. Have you ever said? Are you sure? And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Never said the word." And no, you've. So just to be clear, you've never not once. And I was like, this guy obviously had. I mean, you would. This line of questioning would be absurd. Unless they have some tape
proof. Yeah.
And I was wondering if in Furman's mind, there's at no time was he like, oh, there is that one tape.
I got mad playing basketball.
But it was
he knows about it.
Yeah, it was a tape of him saying 100 times. He claims it for a book or whatever. But like the fact that at no time,
I'm a voice
at
actor.
no time was he thinking like, no. He's like, you sure? Yeah.
There was that time
you didn't say it 100 times on tape somewhere? Yeah, no. Why? They must not have that. You had a terrible job.
Nobody watched that movie.
Yeah, but no. So it's interesting for me now that you, I think we both look at it differently.
Yeah.
From the perspectives that we've had, but I've always wanted to ask people about it because what's interesting now, and I just saw something recently on CNN. I think it was Dershowitz. Who's still trying to. I think he was part of the team, right?
Yeah.
The OJ team?
I thought you were going to say part of the Epstein thing.
Yeah, that too. And you said it on your podcast too. And I always assumed, and I still think that there's no way that they planted evidence on OJ Simpson. Yeah. And what's funny about it is the black community and some people like Dershowitz who are pro OJ think that now it's settled that Furman planted something. It's a different discussion, but that's certainly not settled. And I can't imagine why would I mean, unless he's just a virulent racist, but
it was.
But I mean,
wasn't he talking about he needs to quit?
OJ was like the friend of every cop. It's not like it's and for him to risk his, they already had all this evidence. So why would he? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not a conspiracist.
But he's also a cop that took it personally. The whole thing. This guy, we got to get this guy. He keeps getting away with it. He did all. He was beating her up and all this stuff.
I mean, maybe, but I don't buy that. Okay. I don't buy it.
That's why.
But what's interesting for me is just
he blew the case.
Just hearing that. I mean, for me, it was more just like the fact that they heard him saying that. He said he never said the N-word, and then he heard him saying it. So like, all right, so now everything that this guy's found is is questionable.
Witness credibility.
That's fine. I mean, especially when it's a beyond a reasonable doubt thing. But really, both Dershowitz and you in the podcast, I heard you both say like, yeah, he planted this evidence, and I had no idea that there was a faction of the public that actually believed that. I thought everyone just was like, oh, he got caught saying this stuff.
No.
But I mean, yeah, okay, we can get into the specifics of the trial, but it's very odd for him to be planting.
Get over it, man. Get over it. It's 1 million to 1.
Is he dead yet? At least
it's 1 million to 1. All right, you're up.
And I love the theory that kind of got re-energized after OJ's death, that it was his son that did it, as if sons.
I never thought that.
As if the sons have the same DNA as the parents. There's one small hole in that theory. Is that?
But the thing that surprised me, my mom used to go around. I used to repeat that she would say. You see how big OJ is? If he would have done that, he would damn near cut their heads off. And then when you see it later, you're like, oh, he did. Damn, to cut their heads off. Oh, Mom, did you see the pictures?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, of the because the drawings, it's like, damn, he damn near cut their heads off.
That's good stuff. Well, thank you for the race relations segment.
Yeah, man, I don't like. It's my least favorite thing about this is that we're gonna sit here and talk because it's not my fault you didn't get a black friend till you were 40. Should have done this shit.
I
If you would
figured-
have had a black friend in college,
I know.
you could have been able to hash this out with somebody.
I know.
I had white friends. I was able to have this talk with them, man. Blame yourself, man.
I've never had a black friend
That's terrible.
on a podcast that I felt comfortable
Okay.
asking. I feel like the podcast thing gives me a little bit more like I can ask you anything. So watch out for episode 3.
You catch a nigga off guard with this shit.
That's always in the chamber. I still have my podcast soundboard on here too.
All right.
So you might hear some of my
thanks
stuff.
anybody who's watching or listening. I wanted to shout out Kirk Menahan too.
Shout out.
I got a little flack for not doing that last time, but I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be on his network or not.
Okay.
My favorite podcast in the world. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to the Minifans.
That's what they're called? The Minifans?
Minifans.
I like it.
Minifans. Great group. I'm sure they're probably. I felt like they were fairly kind to us in the comments last time.
I was surprised. Yeah, you told me to prepare for some hate.
I think this time is going to be where the hate comes.
Oh, they're gonna be mad at me with my OJ, my OJ take.
Yeah. Please direct all your.
Yeah, bring it my way, man. I'm used
John.
to it as a people.
But shout out to those guys, best podcast in the world. All
right, enough, man. I got one of those sound effects too.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't want it.
You know about Angel?
I don't want it.
Do you know about Angel?
What the what?
The lady, she was giving an example of how to give a blowjob.
No.
Okay, one day I'll show you the video. I can't find it right now, but I have the sound effect.
I think I know how to give one.
Of her. This is how it sounded when she was demonstrating how to do a grapefruit thing. Actual sound.
Oh, it sounds like a wild cat.
Watch the video, and then don't stand up for 5 minutes.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right,
we'll
man.
see you after round 1. Go Celtics.
Later.